Hello all. Hi. Thanks for coming over. Ma'am, firstly, I would like you all to introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Neelima. I actually am from a technical background. I come from BHEL. Uh, I have passed out electronics and communication engineering from BC Patna then, and now it is NIT in 1988. 1989 onwards, I have been working in BHEL, currently working as senior manager. And I have been in various roles, but basically into design. And as you all know, BHEL is into manufacturing heavily, into the power plant business. We manufacture the control and instrumentation panels, which are used in the automation of power plants. I worked in the design and engineering, basically all through my career. Currently, I work for the nuclear power business, that is in C&I. That's my introduction, and let's see how the discussion is.
Hello guys, I'm Devaki Sahasrabudhe. I head the market engagement part on the investor side for Grex. We are also the knowledge partners here. And a little about me, I come from a background of investment management in terms of client acquisitions and relationship base. So prior to this, I was with Kotak Wealth. I worked there for quite some time, and prior to that with Tatas and the Reliance as well. So the journey so far, I'll probably hand it over to Madhurima.
Thanks. I've already had the privilege of being here. So I'm Madhurima, IMA class of 2003. And my latest venture is Castling Capital, which I've just started a month back, which will be working on making startups investment ready.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, I would like to know, as in, I see that you've taken up a job with PSU right from the beginning. We would like to know a little more, like how PSUs are more friendly towards women or moms when compared to other corporates in general.
I think the question should be more associated with women rather than women in public sector. The time that I have passed out engineering, I don't think many women were getting into engineering institutes. When I joined, the college had only 5 women. Considering 4 batches, that was a very small number. Then it comes to, the number of jobs available then. The number of jobs available in 1989 when I joined BHEL, there were only few PSUs who were there in business, and BHEL was one of the premier organizations. It's a different story. I have stuck to BHEL and in PSU. The perspective it should actually apply to all women rather than just a woman in PSU. Because what I perceive is the growth, career growth, basically the challenges that a woman faces. I think most of the challenges are common across PSU or a private organization. Would you like me to share something specific?
I mean, I just wanted to know, is it more flexible, or do we have any additional benefits, or are they more friendly, or just in those lines, nothing in specific?
As regards the flexibility, actually the policies are very flexible. When it comes to exercising them, it's very difficult to understand the policy is not taking effect. It boils down to then how I relate to my reporting officer, and whether I have been kind enough or not. If I must be liked. It's not that I can be liked or not is a question mark, but it's inversely proportional to the kind of person that you are. If you're passionate, you want to stand for a cause, it has to be met with a resistance, and you should be ready to face the resistance. So the flexibility is, it is very subjective. It depends on how you take things and how you plan things out for yourself, for your career. If you want to stick to PSU, then probably we have to take a lot. Rather than, giving to the organization, we should be also ready to take a lot. And if you are willing to improve the system, I think we need to form a framework for improving the system. As regard women in public sector, we need to take charge, and probably there should be a stronger mentorship that should evolve. Is that okay?
Yeah. For you, we see that you've gone from corporate journey to entrepreneurship and back in corporate, and yeah. How has this whole journey been? As in, the challenges that you've faced, what are different in corporate entrepreneurship?
Sure. So you want to know the transition part of it?
Yeah, the transition. I mean, that challenges there, here, and guidelines for any of the future moms or present moms struggling with their own kids and
Right. So it's really great to be a mom of two. I mean, they keep you on your toes. They make things really worst for you at times. When you want to go out for a meeting and they're like, "Mama, please don't go now. Play with me." And that's something we have to look up to. We have to see that maybe at times their daddy is in the house and he can take care of them, and then I can really push off for a meeting. But having said that, my journey so far in the corporate world has been, I have been probably one of the luckiest few, wherein I always got to work with new businesses in terms of, even though I worked for Tatas or the Reliances of the world, I always got to work from the inception module of a particular division or a department. That was more enterprising. It actually helped me work as an entrepreneur there, because the entire division was mine, right? I used to take care of it. And if I go back to my boss, he would say, "Okay, I don't know, because this is a new division. So you do it yourself." And probably that was one good thing, that every time I got an opportunity to work it out myself. So I actually have started taking that also as an entrepreneurial task, wherein that's why it was not very difficult for me to transition out of a job towards being an entrepreneur myself. And when I conceived Dr. I, which is a project in telemedicine, that was something which was essential in India. I remember an incident where I was sitting with my child, who was 7 months old. She was having a lot of fever, and we were worried that some doctors should come and see her quickly. And with an appointment, I sat for a long time, and when I went inside, I just lost it on the doctor. I said, "I've been sitting here for 2 hours. I mean, what's the use of taking an appointment?" And I'm sure everybody in Bangalore must be facing this issue all the time. And he said, "You have been watching me, okay? I have been looking at children day in and day out, and you see my day accordingly." So I told him, "Let me come out with a plan for you. Would you be interested in a business opportunity?" And that's how it happened. So we designed Dr. I, which is probably a telemedicine setup wherein a doctor can see a patient online. So that was something really interesting which we did. And yeah, that was probably my transitional phase from taking a break in my corporate life and starting something on my own.
So we just wanted to know from you, are there any particular steps or best practices which corporates can come up with, like the one that Flipkart has come up with very recently, the 6-month maternity period? Do we have any such guidelines or best practices which corporates are looking forward to or trying to implement to make the atmosphere more friendly for women?
So I'll share my perspective on this. I've even worked in London for Goldman Sachs, and that's where I utilized my maternity leave for the first time. And I'll just do a quick comparison. So in Europe, if we see the laws, the policies in favor of women diversity is much better than in India, especially I can talk about England, at least in UK. There is a policy of having a 1-year maternity leave which one can avail. So if we look at that versus the policy in India, which is 12 weeks of maternity leave, we have a long way to go ahead. The good part is that now companies like Flipkart, even Accenture and other companies are coming up with policies which are more in line with the global things. However, we are not that unfortunate. If we look at America, there, and if anybody just wants to take a random guess, what is the maternity leave that is statutory over there? Anybody? It's just
6 weeks.
it's just 6 weeks. That's it. And most of my friends, my family who live there and are working moms, I know most of them went back to work after 6 weeks of maternity leave. They did not have the privilege that we have in India, that you can at least stay at home for 3 months and then probably get an additional month of leave if it's required. Also, the other thing I think what companies can do here is that policies aside, that is not in their hands. They can take the voluntary step which Flipkart and Accenture has taken. I know of Unilever, which is another multinational operating in India, amazingly women friendly. TCS is there, and also they provide you flexibility, and as Nilima said, flexibility can be a policy, but it's up to you guys, men who are managers in these companies who can actually put their foot down and implement the policies in the spirit in which they are created. Another concrete step that can be taken is having daycare at the office premises itself. Goldman Sachs had it in London and I found it immensely useful. So any day when my the regular daycare is closed, I had the option of bringing in my child for work if it was required. And similarly, I think there are various other steps. It's up to you guys who can innovate and think. And the good part about India is with the focus on diversity and the diversity groups that are being formed, there is a platform where the ideas can be sounded out and their actual action can be taken.
We see that we have very few women high up in the cadre. I mean, at the managerial levels and maybe directors and levels above. So even the CEO Sheryl Sandberg was talking about it, and how women try and move out of their career paths after having kids. So do you think there can be something that can be done by the corporates to fill this gap and have more women up in the ladder?
I feel it is better not to blame anyone in the organization. And
Yeah.
I, as a person, at the senior management level in a public sector, I myself take charge to mentor juniors who are actually just at the entry level. They come as trainees. So one person can mentor about four of the juniors. So I take the responsibility of mentoring. It is not just the same when it comes to me, because I don't have anyone to hold my hand so that I can pass on the concerns, or if I have anything which I can't handle, I can get some idea from someone how to handle the situation. I think there are women who can take responsibility in the senior management levels, and naturally the glass ceiling, which is more of a mindset ceiling, that has to be broken.
Okay.
So I feel it is women who can help women out. It is men who can help women out too. It has to be both ways.
Okay.
I think just to add on to that, Nilima, I'll share my experience at Fidelity. And Manoj was an ex-Fidelitarian. So we started a Women in Excellence program there, which exactly served this process, this thing that get the women in the organization at one place. And we are naturals at talking. The moment we connect, we start jabbing away as if there is no end to it. And that's a strength, right? We talked about our problems and we figured that most of us were facing the similar issues. And then somebody came up and said that, I tried this and this worked. So why not just put them in a room together, give them some good snacks, some good time to talk to, and solutions will emerge. The other, so this was the good thing. While designing that program, I thought, let me get in some senior people from some senior women managers in the room who can share their perspectives. And surprise of surprises, I figured that from me to the CEO in my vertical, there was no women leader. And I was aghast at that. I mean, it's so strange that with Fidelity having such great policies and all, we still do not have senior women leaders. So of course we, reached out to the CEO. He was amazingly good. His support was so much that he said, I will devote all the time that is required to make this program a success. And he would come and mentor the women leaders. I mean, what more can you want? So I think the thing that we look forward to is,
I said the onus lies on us at many times, right? I mean, how you want to drive it as a woman, it totally depends.
So I would also like to know, I mean, I see that you've worked your way through the career path and with the kids and made a stand of yourself now. I would like to know, I'm sorry?
Not yet made. Nothing is final as yet.
Okay. So, I mean, I would like to know a little more about how you've managed to strike the balance between work and family.
Okay, that's a good question. So I started working for Greg's in December, and after a good break, it was a much needed break for me too from the family. When I say that, I remember an incident when I used to sleep, eat, drink, everything was Greg's. And I used to keep telling my friends in my office that I'm completely Greg's, and my husband used to tease me on that. So one incident I would like to share here is, when you are on a job, when you are into something, you should not get into something so deeply. You should keep some time for yourself, which probably now I'm understanding. When I used to, there was a meeting which was held up for a very long time in the evening. And I came home and I got a call on my landline from my security guard that, somebody, Shiva is speaking, somebody wants to speak. And I had just met a guy called Shiva, the investor. And I'm like wondering, why is Shiva calling me on my landline and from the security guard desk? So it was some other Shiva who was a driver of a friend of mine. But, it was on my mind that, okay, I was completely at work even then. So that was one incident. Probably I just thought, I told myself that no, I want to get a break here. I need to spend some time with the family as well. And as you rightly asked me the question, things are looking better now. As I move ahead, as Greg's is really breathing now in terms of, we are doing good, we are going places in terms of creating an identity for ourselves. And people have started knowing about us. That's something really good, when somebody says that, oh, I've met you, you're from Greg's. So, that gives us a lot of hope that we are doing something good. And at times, I have seen my mother when it comes to an entrepreneur role, as Madhurima also mentioned some time back. I've seen my mom, who was an entrepreneur. She used to set things so profoundly in terms of, making food for us, cooking the best meal, probably whatever we like as kids, my father, and then go do her work, come back with the same smile. So probably, I'm probably transitioning there. I want to keep all these things as a, as a memory and see how best I can give it back to my kids, because at the end of the day, it is them who keep waiting for me to get back home. Not to forget, if you look at Mary Kom today, what kind of stint she has done in her life, probably it's creditable. And I don't want to say that she is my role model or something like that, but I look up to her, because if she can do it after 2 kids, and her husband can take care of things back home then, probably, no, I'm not telling my husband to do that, but, but yeah, he's a big support. My entire family is a big support when it comes to, I travel a lot. So it makes a lot of sense that, we do a lot of things for the company, for us, at any given point or any given stage.
So just to add to your experience, I think the key person in my life who's enabled me to juggle work and family life so far, so good, I would say, has been my husband. And it's not just taking care of the kids and, managing the house when need be. He has a full-time job, a very immersive job. He needs to travel and all, that's fine. But still, I know that if there is something critical at work when I need to be there, I can just count on him. We work our schedules around so that, just let's take the example of today, Sunday being, mostly a family day. And I wanted to be here, spend time with you fabulous people. So I said, I need to be there. And he didn't even blink. And I said, yeah, sure, go. I'll take care of both the kids. 7-year-old and 3-year-old, both love to throw tantrums. So my biggest worry is once I go home, so how many fights did you all have today? And he manages that, right? Even before the kids. So I'll share an experience from my Goldman Sachs days. All of you might have heard, they are notorious for the working hours people put in there, especially analysts. So my workday would start at 6 a.m. in the morning. It would end at probably 11 in the night. And then there's the commute from work to home. So it was my birthday. And so obviously, like any loving husband, he had everything planned that we'll have dinner and all that. And something came up at work. I reached home at 12:30 in the night. And I was feeling more guilty, all the plans gone and everything. So I reach home that late and he has got everything, all dinner, everything prepared. And he still makes me feel so special that, it's okay that you missed whatever we had planned. We can still have a party. Had that feeling been reversed that, grumpy and all that, you spoiled everything, I would have thought twice about going to work the next day. Or whenever a next important meeting came up, I would have a doubt in my mind, where should I go? So that is something which I, truly thank him for. And I encourage you as husbands, take care of these small things of your wife. She also is an individual working equally hard, probably more. And what you can do is these small steps that you can take. Give her just a couple of hours off on any weekday, weekend, whenever you think. Go and enjoy yourself. Don't think that you have a husband and kids waiting at home. The feeling that it generates, the invigoration that happens, the rejuvenation, you will see the effects. You will feel, the feel-good factor that comes from that.
So I like the 7 years part. And I mean, your kids are 7 and? 3. So you're still better. I'm 2. My elder daughter is 4 and my second child is 2 years old. So, at times I know what kind of pain I go through, especially when you're doing some work and you forget to take your daughter for a birthday party. And that's like, oh my God, did I do that? And then after the meeting, you keep on planning, okay, how do I make this up now? So that is something really painful. But yeah, I think it's part of life. And another thing which I probably would like to say here is when we talk about work as, life balance and work-life balance and stuff, I think it is either you enjoy or either you work. It is never, that you're working and you can take care of the kids. When I'm traveling, many a times I think that I should take, everybody together. But then that's not going to work out. I'll end up probably doing only one meeting if I've lined up around 8 meetings. So I refrain from doing that. But yeah, as I said, either work or either play. You can't do 2 things at a time.
Work is life too.
Agreed. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all.
Would you like to share your thoughts on this?
Anything specific?
No, nothing. I mean, just they've shared their...
See, the balances are there with the individual. It is basically up to me how I balance it out. It also depends on the type of responsibility. Suppose it is a manufacturing unit where a customer is there to inspect the equipment and I am not present for the part that I am handling. It would be a big miss. So I have to give miss somewhere, which I have to choose according to the situation. The situation demands that I be present with the customer and finish that, and then I can be present at home. But suppose it was my daughter's birthday and I have missed it out, I think I can't forgive myself for that. So it's a matter of choice. It could be very hard sometimes to decide. Very hard. In fact, it will be difficult to decide which one I should choose. Sometimes life can test you.
Thank you very much for sharing your perspective on work-life balance.